Hello, this is AstrologerCoach Sonja Francis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming full moon in 26 degrees of Cancer on January 15th at 11:52 p.m. East Coast time in the US and 8:52 p.m. West Coast time in the US. Now, the full moon is always a time in which we look for balance because something's coming into our awareness that needs to be brought into alignment. It's also something that we can experience in our relationships, and relationships are definitely highlighted during this full moon because of the grand cross that's still taking place, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's talk first about the Capricorn Cancer polarity. Now, we're trying to bring something into alignment right now, and of course this last 2 weeks have been kind of intensified with all that Capricorn energy, where we're needing to build something in the physical world, we're needing to manifest things. It's all about our long-term goals and our needing to kind of build something in a responsible way and taking responsibility for who we are in the world and what we're putting out. Now, with this full moon, the Cancer energy now comes into the forefront and wants us to notice that, we need to pay attention to our emotional body. We need to understand our feelings, and we need to bring awareness towards what we're needing towards our inner experience, so that we can be aware of what's healthy and what's harmful to us, so that we can really go out into the world and we can do what we need to do out in the world. So this is definitely, this full moon is definitely an invitation to nurture ourselves, to nurture others, to take care of our feelings, to take care of our inner baby. And, I've talked about the inner baby before, and I think this is something that's very important because it's the part of ourselves that sort of, is the needy part that needs love and that needs good food, and the part of us that needs enough rest. And when we disregard that, when we don't give ourselves these things, then we neglect our navigation system, because the feelings that we have they show our motivations. They navigate us through life and help us understand which direction we want to go in. And so it's very essential, with this Cancer energy, to really be able to connect to that feeling part, to that part inside of ourselves that needs to be taken care of, so that we can step out into the world and do the Capricorn things that we want to do, so that we can really step into our power, that we can be mature adults, mature human beings that can stand on their own 2 feet, and that can provide for ourselves and others without needing approval or validation from anybody else, but where we can really master our lives. But we cannot do that without taking care of our inner world. So the Cancer energy is really about having healthy roots, having a healthy inner experience, so that the Capricorn energy, which is about more the outer experience in life, so that we can really share the fruits of our labors and share what we're building for ourselves in the world, with society and with our communities. Now, of course, I already said that, we're trying to kind of move towards mastery, with the Capricorn energy in the world. We're trying to move towards being a responsible adult. But, we do need to develop a very strong inner sense as well of taking care of our body, our physical body, and our feelings, so that we can do that. Now, this particular full moon is also making a connection to Saturn in Scorpio, and this is a very beautiful, harmonious connection that really supports us in creating healthy boundaries with other people. But it also helps us for the next 2 weeks to just kind of monitor our feelings, to safely release anything that has been stored in our body memory, in our physical memory, or just in our emotional memory. And things that can now be released, that can now kind of where we can safely say, okay, this is something we can now let go of. It's a great time to listen to our intuition and to trust our instincts, because we're feeling a little bit stronger, and we're feeling a little bit more like we're more responsible with our emotional connections in the world and with other people. So it becomes a little bit of an easier experience, and of course taking care of our body and our environment or nature is part of that as well, and becoming a little bit more focused and connected to that. Now, Mars, of course, is still part of this grand cross that I've been talking about for the past couple of videos that I've been shooting. And, Mars being connected to Uranus, Pluto, Jupiter, this time around with this full moon, it's also making a T-square to the full moon, and it's making a square to Venus in Capricorn as well. So this sort of ups the ante a little bit and makes this a little bit more intensified, how we're kind of like trying to figure things out, and how we're being pulled in all these different directions, and trying to find sort of like a nice, healthy relationship with the feminine and the masculine inside of us, and how can we make these different energies work with each other. Now, like I already said in my last video, I do believe it's very important that we're all getting very grounded right now, that we're all taking advantage of all the techniques and supportive tools that we have in our toolbox in regards to feeling present, and in regards to feeling grounded, and being able to breathe, and to manage the complexities of life. And so if you have tools like that in your toolbox, then please use them as much as possible. It will really help you to break through some of the old patterns that need to be released right now. And if you don't have any tools in that regard, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to email you some of the tools that I use, which are guided meditations, music, breathing exercises, and so on. Now, wherever you have Mars in your personal chart, in your birth chart, this is the area of your life that really is bringing up a lot of issues, and this is where we need to address some very acute things. So if you have your birth chart and you know where Libra is in your chart, and you're familiar with the houses, then you know what area of your life will be affected. If you don't have a birth chart and you're not so familiar with the house system, then please feel free to reach out for a mini reading, and I'd be very happy to support you with that, to figure that out, and to see what area of your life needs more attention right now. You can always email me at Sonja@AstrologerCoach.com. That's SONJA@AstrologerCoach.com, and ask for whatever you need. Now, with that many squares in place, with this particular full moon and that many oppositions, this full moon is definitely giving us a very clear message that there is a significant shift that needs to take place in several areas in our lives and in the way we do things. So it really serves us to pay attention to how we can manage all these different areas in our lives, how we can be more flexible, how we can think outside the box, and how we can create new ways of doing something so that we can make all of this work with each other. All of these different things, relationships, our career, personal goals, our family and home life, our personal needs, all these things are being part of this shift that is being created right now. Now, another thing with this full moon that I think is really important is the square that the full moon is making to the last lunar eclipse degree that was exact on October 2013. So at the end of October of last year, whatever happened, whatever came up for you during that time in your relationships or with a situation in your life, it is definitely something that now has a turning point, and now we're being able to move forward with something here. And it's also the midpoint between the last lunar eclipse and the next lunar eclipse. So the next lunar eclipse will be in April of 2013, and this is where you will find a resolution and where something will be completed in regards to this issue in a particular relationship of yours. So really check to see, look for insights, look to see what needs to change and shift, what turning point could we be talking about here, and really be open to a consciousness shift as well, because eclipses are always connected to your soul's journey. So there's definitely a sense that whatever is occurring is also part of your soul's path and something that needs to happen and something where you really need to move forward. And sometimes in order for us to move forward, we also need to let go of something else so we can make the move forward, right? So we need to kind of sometimes take a leap of faith. Take a leap of faith in order to move forward. Now, again, with this full moon, definitely nurture yourself, nourish yourself, connect to nature. And some of the things that you can ask yourself for this full moon is, how can I unlearn what doesn't serve me anymore? And the reason why unlearning can be very powerful is because, there's so much conditioning that goes into our physical bodies and into our minds and into our emotional bodies from a very early age on, that once in a while we need to just break away from these conditionings. We need to unlearn and let go. And this is really part of this full moon is very much about that. That's a big message of this full moon, is this unlearning process. And the other question you can ask yourself is, what might I hear if I listened to my body? And this, of course, is a very, very beautiful and very important question as well, because our body communicates so much more to us than we sometimes allow ourselves to hear. And when we check in with our body, it can be very powerful to see, what is really needed so that I can be fully empowered in the world, and I can be really strong in the world, and I can expand. What does my body say? What is it communicating to me? Now, if you do have 24 to 28 degrees of Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, or Aries in your birth chart, any personal planets or signs, points, then you're definitely going to feel this full moon more strongly. Now, personal planets are the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And personal points are the Ascendant or the Rising sign, and the MC, which is the top of the charts, the career point. So if you have any of those in those signs and degrees, then you definitely feel this full moon very strongly. And even if you have personal planets and points in just those signs, even if it's not in those degrees, you will feel that cardinal cross very strongly as well. So, and you've been feeling it already very strongly, since December, and all of us have felt that, of course, somewhere. So one last thing I want to mention is that I do still have a New Year's reading available until January 31st. So feel free to take advantage of that. So far, all my clients who have done the New Year's reading have said that it's been really most valuable to them, and that they've really enjoyed knowing about all the different time frames of what's coming up, and being able to align themselves with those time frames and with those energies, so that the year can be a little bit more manageable and can be more powerful for you personally. So feel free to reach out for that either via email at sonja@astrologercoach.com or via my website at astrologercoach.com/services.html. And again, with this full moon, remember, it's an extroverted time, it's a relationship time. And, I always say with relationships, seek to understand before being understood. It can be very helpful to be able to understand other people, so that we can then really be in relationship and be really relating to somebody, instead of just putting our point of view on somebody. Because listening is really an art, and it's something that helps us to be a little bit more flexible, and to really maybe also have more understanding and compassion for the other person. And since the full moon is very much about oppositions and relationships in that way, it does serve us to understand where the other person is coming from, right? So have a fantastic full moon, and I will be back in 2 weeks. This is Astrologer Coach Sonja Francis. Goodbye.